It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of March 24th, 1995. 6 movies to look at today, so let's get right on into it. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, which is Damon Wayans in the military comedy Major Payne.
Now what we have here, lady, is a failure to communicate.
The fighting's no longer done in the battlefield, Payne.
Killing is my business, and business is good.
Now all the blood is shed in the halls of Congress.
Gotta be somebody needs some killing.
There's no one left. You killed them all.
Major Benson Winifred Payne needs a job.
Major Payne reporting for duty, sir. What?
But this isn't what he had in mind.
Hey, oh, yes, sir. What's your name, girly mouth? I have 8 weeks to turn you, gaggle of maggot, into a well-disciplined cadet unit. Tomorrow, lady, we gonna start the hard stuff.
The hard stuff?
Gotta get rid of that jerk.
These kids need a minor miracle, but what they've got is a major pain.
Hi, I'm Emily Walker, the school counselor.
You want Rissa?
You need to be more sensitive.
What's your angle, boy? Did I give you permission to sneeze over there?
No, sir.
Bleep, bleep, bleep. What are you laughing at, pig boy?
His methods may be madness,
Right inside.
but now they're learning. No pain, no gain.
Boy's making me soft.
Them boys need you.
Universal Pictures presents
Benson, nobody does the robot anymore.
Guess I gotta dig further into my repertoire.
Damon Wayans,
He's back.
Who's back?
The man who lives in my closet.
You in there? We still in there, he ain't happy.
Major Pain.
Sensitive.
So this is essentially a loose remake of a Charlton Heston movie from back in 1955 called The Private War of Major Benson, and as you can tell from the trailer, Damon Wayans plays a character named Major Benson Payne, and compared to his other movie he did, Blank Man, this is a definite improvement over that film, mostly because this is a character that's actually pretty funny, even though he's kind of a one-note character. I think maybe the biggest problem with Blank Man was that they made him too obnoxious. There was nothing really funny in that particular movie to make that character stand out more. But this movie, it's a simple concept here. You have Damon Wayans playing this really into his job Marine, and he basically has to recruit these new kids from this group of young cadets to victory in a competition. So it's kind of like in a way, it's kind of like a generic kind of summer camp movie, because it ends with a big competition to prove that they're the best of the best, and there's definitely a lot of elements in there. But like I said before, what makes it work is the comedy. I think the comedy is a lot funnier here, and it is because Damon Wayans puts a lot of effort into this. Like I said, he plays a very obnoxious character and an over-the-top character, but it's a fun role for him that he actually gets a lot of good material out of. There's a lot of good funny moments with him in there, and I think everybody in here does a pretty good job. The cast overall is great. You got Karen Parsons from Fresh Prince. Michael Ironside's also in here. William Hickey, a young Orlando Brown, a young Chris Owen from American Pie. Damon's son, Damian Dante Wayne's also in here, who went on to star in movies of his own. It's a pretty fun movie. I remember watching it, not really going into it with a whole lot of expectations, because I kind of thought this character was going to be kind of a one-note character, but like I said before, the jokes actually do work, and there are a lot of funny moments in the movie that actually do work. They're very funny, they're very well done, and it works for a lot of reasons. It's a very solid film. It's nothing too grand, it's nothing too amazing, but it definitely delivers what it promises. It's a very fun comedy. I'd highly recommend checking it out. It's actually one of Damon Wayans' best leading comedies that I've seen him in. And even though he's done a ton of great movies and TV shows, this is probably one of his best ones where he's leading in a comedic leading role. So, like I said, highly recommend checking out Major Payne. So, well, with that said, let's move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Kathy Bates and Jennifer Jason Leigh starring in Dolores Claiborne.
Dolores Claiborne, what the hell? Oh my God. She killed her.
This is not a trial. This is a preliminary inquest in all cases of death as suspicious in nature.
Someone to see you here.
I told you I don't want no lawyer.
Dolores, it's your daughter. When was your last visit?
15 years ago. I didn't kill her.
I'm not murder that witch anymore, and I'm wearing a diamond tiara.
We need a piece of your hair, Miss Claiborne.
Take what you want. I ain't doing any beauty pageants this week.
That is the last guy in the world you want to make an enemy out of.
Motive, money.
I ain't making one. I'm keeping one.
Eyewitness testimony.
And what is that supposed to mean?
A documented history of threats.
You're gonna tell me you don't remember him?
Selena. We met before, Miss St. George.
Leave me alone!
I was the investigator when your father died.
No!
Maybe we should finish what was started 20 years ago.
You honest to God don't remember, do you?
I remember you hitting him!
You're an old hand at this, aren't you, Miss Claiborne? People do have a tendency to take some bad falls when you're around.
What did you do to him, Mommy? Why can't you believe my mother?
Because she's done it before.
You don't believe me, do you?
Selena, get in the house right now.
I am in the house.
Academy Award winner Kathy Bates. Jennifer Jason Leigh.
An accident, Dolores, can be an unhappy woman's best friend.
So when I first heard about this movie, I thought it was a Stephen King movie. It was a movie based off of one of his books, and that trailer doesn't really give you an indication of it, which probably means that Stephen King didn't want his name attached to it, so this is one of the movies that he took his name off of. But as we saw before, he'll put his name on something stupid like The Mangler, but this movie, nah, don't even bother putting it on there. But like most of the movies that Stephen King doesn't put his name on, this movie actually ends up being pretty good. It's a different kind of a horror story. Like, it's not the typical Stephen King type horror story. It's more of a story of everyday horror story, because you're dealing with stuff like alcoholism, murder, wife beating, child abuse, just like all throughout this movie. And you get two wonderful actresses really putting it their all into this. Like, Kathy Bates delivers another fantastic performance in this movie. It's about as good as her performance in Misery, and she's done a lot of great movies, but this is definitely one of the strongest performances I've ever seen her in. Jennifer Jason Leigh is also great here too, playing the daughter. There's a great cast overall. You've got Christopher Plummer in the trailer. He's very good in here as well. David Strathairn, a very good actor. Eric Bogosian from Talk Radio. John C. Reilly in one of his early film roles. It's a very good, well-made film. It's a nice psychological thriller. And it does what a good psychological thriller should do. It should keep your investment throughout the course of the movie. It's going to make you wonder what the hell is going on. Is this woman really guilty about what she did? Is there more behind this? And the movie does a very good job of keeping you involved in the film. It keeps your expectations on track to see how this is going to turn out in the end. It's a phenomenal film, and unfortunately, it was one of those movies that didn't get the reception it deserved. It got a lot of good reviews, great reviews for both Bates and Leigh, but the movie didn't make any money at the box office. It was actually no, I take that back. It did make money at the box office, but most people kind of forgot about it after it did, because most of the film didn't have a whole lot of promotion to it, and yet it still made over $50 million worldwide over a $13 million budget, which is going to work for, that's good enough for anybody. But yeah, like I said, it's a well-made film, a very underrated thriller, written by Tony Gilroy, directed by Taylor Hackford. Fantastic film, maybe one of the best underrated Stephen King adaptations of all time. I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't seen Dolores Claiborne, definitely check it out. And again, you will not be disappointed by it. So, with that said, let us move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Tall Tale, The Unbelievable Adventures of Pecos Bill from Disney.
Shoot straighter, ride harder, and drink longer than any man alive. I ride cyclones and I
Got
wrestle.
a name, don't you?
I'm getting to that.
Pecos Bill, the greatest cowboy the West had ever known. John Henry, he had iron in his soul and steel in his hands. Paul Bunyan,
he could level a forest with a single swing of his mighty axe. They were the three greatest heroes the world had ever seen.
You gutless, brainless, heartless sidewinder!
In a time when heroes were hard to find.
There's only one law. Winner take all.
Somebody's got to do something.
Find the brat.
Walt Disney Pictures presents the story of a boy who needed a miracle.
I'll make his bill!
And three legends who needed the work.
Timber. One that kid. We can beat this thing.
Now they're finding something to believe in.
Hang on now.
Themselves.
That kid's blocking the tracks. Don't lose the dream, Daniel.
You know we're gonna win in the end.
Don't listen to him. We're coming.
Not through our land!
On March 24th comes an adventure
Defend the defenseless and don't never spit in front of women and children.
from out of the blue. Disney's Tall Tale, the unbelievable adventures of Pecos Bill.
And somewhere Paul Bunyan and John Henry are looking at this and going, how the fuck did Pecos Bill get top billing over us? Honestly, they all get equal billing in this movie, honestly. And this is one of those movies that I remember seeing the previews for and never seeing the movie until much later on down the road. And it wasn't a terrible movie. It was one that when I finally saw it, I was just kind of like, that could have been something interesting, but maybe as a kid I probably would have liked it a little bit more, but I do like a lot of the ideas they have in here. You got all these folk legends, Pecos Bill, not just Pecos Bill, Paul Bunyan and John Henry, but they also throw in these other names in here, like Calamity Jane's also in this movie, played by Catherine O'Hara, and you got a phenomenal cast in here as well. You got, as I mentioned, Swayze, Oliver Platt as Paul Bunyan, Roger Aaron Brown as great as John Henry, Stephen Lang's in here, Nick Stahl, Scott Glenn, Jared Harris, William H. Macy has a role in here, so does Burgess Meredith. And for a movie that was sitting on the shelf for over a year, this actually was filmed in 1993 and finished completion in 93 and didn't even get a release. Maybe Disney kind of thought that this movie wasn't going to make a ton of money, and I guess they were kind of right. It only made back $8 million off of the $32 million budget it had, but like I said before, it's not a terrible movie, but there's nothing really all that amazing about it. I thought it was okay for what it was, but in the end, what did it really amount to in the end? What was the whole purpose of the movie's existence by the time the movie ended? You didn't really get a whole lot of it. I mean, like I said, the performances are okay. Some of the action is very nicely done. There are some good moments in there that really were okay, there are moments here where it is redeemable. These are nice moments, and there's a lot of good moments in the film. Is it one that I'd watch over and over again? Probably not, but I'm glad I saw it the one time, because it was something that I didn't really have a whole lot of interest seeing it as a kid, but as I watched it now that I'm older, kind of okay, I can definitely see where you guys were going with this. But at the same time, like I said, it's nothing grand, it's nothing too spectacular, but I'm glad I saw it the one time I did. Could have been a whole lot better, absolutely, but for what it was, I kind of enjoyed it for what it was. As a one-time watch, I thought it was alright, but it's not something I'm going to watch over and over again, so that is Tall Tale. So let's move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Linus Roach from The Dark Knight and Law & Order, Batman Begins and Law & Order, I should say, starring in Priest.
God wants me to be a priest. I don't think it, I don't just believe it. I know it.
He was devoted to his work.
Is this a Catholic home?
Kind?
Thank you. We're Jehovah's Witnesses, actually.
Faithful to his beliefs.
For God's sake, get rid of her.
Are you judging me?
He's asked me to marry him. That means I'm leaving the priesthood, so I've said no.
And true to his word.
He makes me do things.
What sort of things?
All sorts.
Tell him you've seen me, and I said it's got to stop.
But how much can a man hear?
It's the one thing we'd all like to do. Deep down, in here.
How much can a man hide?
If I intervene, I could stop someone's suffering, but that means
breaking the seal of the confession. Before he must choose between keeping the faith.
I can't smile and hug and preach the beauty of creation because inside here there's just sin and sickness and evil.
And exposing the truth.
What kind of man are you? It's got to stop.
The best way for you to serve God is to disappear after my diocese.
Get out now, Greg. Get out.
It's our parish. You wouldn't give a damn about the church and its rules and its regulations. I'm just a priest and I can't take on 2,000 years of history.
Never saw the movie, but basically you have a Roman Catholic priest struggling to deal with two difficulties that precipitate a crisis of faith. Like I said, Linus Roach from Batman Begins is in this movie as the main priest. Tom Wilkinson, who was also in Batman Begins, is also in here as well, as is Robert Carlyle, who's in Trainspotting. Like I said, I haven't seen the movie before, so I can't really comment on it too much, but it just really... There's just nothing really here that really says I need to see this movie, but I mean, some things of noteworthiness. Catholic organizations in the United States were in an uproar over the planned release of the film from Miramax on Easter weekend, calling the film smut, blasphemous, and sacrilegious, staging a nationwide boycott of Disney, and wanted Michael Eisner to be fired. And New Jersey actually received threats, bomb threats, warnings against the screening of the film. But I mean, let's be honest, the church will go after any movie that badmouths them or says things that they don't. I mean, that's kind of to be expected with that movie. But bomb threats over this, really? Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't really say too much more about it. But bomb threats over this movie, like, I don't know. Like I said, it doesn't look anything too engaging or interesting. Maybe it's more of a piece to show that, hey, these guys that you never heard of are actually good actors that should be seen in other movies, because we've seen them do good acting in other movies. Linus Roach and Tom Wilkinson, for example, and Robert Carlyle. But yeah, other than that, though, I've got nothing else for you, because I haven't seen this, so I can't really comment on it too much. Maybe it's good that I don't comment on it, so... But anyway, let's move on to the next movie, and that is Oliver Platt and Jerry Lewis in Funny Bones.
I'm looking for something, and I don't know what it is. Is this your first time in Blackpool? No, I was born here, lived here till I was 6. What would it be, 30 years? It's heyday then. Sammy Davis Jr., Bob Hope. And the sun shone every day, right? I feel I should tell you where I am. You don't have to tell us where you are. I want to tell you where I am. Okay, where are you? I'm in Blackpool. I'm coming over. Don't do it, Dad. Please don't do it. I love this town. What sort of thing do you want to see? Whatever's funny in Blackpool. And you're prepared to pay actual cash. Bingo. Old routines. Funny routines. Funny people. Jokes? No. No jokes. Jokes? I'm gonna leave to George Fox. I thought he died in Las Vegas. I died in Las Vegas. Did I say something funny? I gotta run.
This is Bruno, Thomas, and Jack Parker, funniest people Blackpool ever saw.
Great. Where can I get your act?
This isn't just buying a few jokes. This is buying their lives.
Where were you born?
Blackpool.
Why Blackpool? Because I wanted to be near my mother.
There's got to be a lot of angry people in this town when they find out what you're really doing.
Stop. My father stole material.
I don't want to hear any more funny stories.
We were funny people. We didn't have to tell funny stories. We were funny. We had funny bones. Stop!
I never saw anything funny that didn't cause pain.
Find Jack Parker now.
This man is a known bona fide maniac.
Oh, Tommy, what did you expect to find?
This all getting a bit French. And I don't like it.
Think we can help each other. Show me whatever you want. Take me to the edge. You can't shock me. They're not going to stand and cheer for you no matter what you do. I'm not going to play safe anymore. I'm going to take it to the edge and do pirouettes. You were great. Did they come to laugh or being bombed?
So this is looking like a movie that's trying to be kind of like another Mr. Saturday Night or Funny People that is mostly comedy, but it needs to be more dramatic. And this movie, I don't know. This movie feels like they're trying to combine both of them and just can't decide which one should be over the one, which one should be over the one, because it feels like it's 50-50, and the 50-50 that they have there is not really anything that interesting or exciting. I mean, Jerry Lewis can play dramatic. I mean, we've seen him starring in more dramatic dramedies, like The King of Comedy was a good example from about, 13 years before this movie came out. And you got Oliver Platt, who's a great actor. You've got Oliver Reed involved in this as well, Richard Griffiths, Leslie Caron, just some notable names in here and some good ideas, but this movie doesn't really feel like anything too intriguing or exciting, honestly. I mean, it doesn't really feel like there's a lot there. And you bring in Jerry Lewis, you got to have something for him to do. Either they can make him be funny or actually show some of his dramatic chops that he's proven to have before in the past. But I don't know. I haven't seen this movie either, so I can't really comment on it too much. So that's pretty much all I got for you on this one. So that's Funny Bones. Let's move on to the last movie that we have here. And we'll be quick on this one, too, because I haven't seen this one either. And this is another one I had to struggle to find footage for. It's a film called Bar Girls.
Are you from New York, Rich? How could you tell? You have that, I'm never gonna get mugged again ambiance. You can tell by my accent, huh?
So like I said, I haven't seen this one, so I can't really say too much about it, but it's basically a lesbian-themed romantic comedy where you follow these gay women in Los Angeles who socialize at a local lesbian bar, simply called Girl Bar, and the hijinks ensue, I guess. I mean, I really don't have anything more to say about this one because I haven't seen it, but reviews for it were not that strong from what I saw from there, but Cher's daughter was in the movie, Chastity Bono. I keep remembering that she became a man, Chaz Bono, but that's the only thing I really know about this movie is the fact that she's in there, and this is one of several lesbian themed comedies we got in this time period, because there was another one that came out this very same year. I can't remember the name of it. Just found it. The Incredibly True Adventures of Two Girls in Love, which I have seen, and I think that's actually a pretty good movie. But we're still a couple of months away from that one, so I'll delve more into that one when we get to that movie. But other than that, that's pretty much all I had to say about this one. So, Bar Girls. And with that said, we wrap up this edition of Time About the Movies, and we'll jump into the final weekend of March on the next episode we do, which will be next week, which will be one of my favorite comedies of all time, Tommy Boy. We also have Lori Petty starring in Tank Girl, the family adventure Born to Be Wild. We also have Jefferson in Paris and Ballot Measure 9. So we'll look at all 5 of those movies on tomorrow's show. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you for watching, I'll see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.